You're watching Gold Rush on a Rush, and we're recapping the Season 6 premiere episode, Blood, Sweat, and Gold. So what happened? Before it even starts, Parker's season is already on the brink of disaster. Wait, already? That must be a new record. He needs to convince Gene to return with him and run his new claim. But will Gene come? No. So with no crew and no land, he calls Tony to get his old claim back. After brief head-rubbing drama, Parker signs a new contract, and then we watch him pack his clothes for the Klondike, which is just as exciting as it sounds. He returns to Scribner Creek, and then we see him unpack. Wow, this episode has more filler than a supersized Twinkie. He then hires a new crew that has no mining experience because, I don't know, you'll have to come up with your own logic here. I've got nothing. Parker goes to see Tony because Tony has not yet signed the contract. But now there's a new clause. Parker is not allowed to mine anywhere else while working Tony's claim. Parker refuses to sign, arguing begins, and there is talk of lawyers and judges. And there's lots of swearing, but you knew that already. But despite this legal talk, and after being told to leave the claim, Parker returns anyway and continues to work because, he's into trespassing but hates loitering? I don't know. What's going to happen to Parker this season? It all depends on Tony. Tony starts the season in a helicopter with Minnie. He not only wants to buy another dredge, he now wants to buy a fleet of dredges because, wow, I'm really struggling this episode to try and figure any of this out. Back at the claim, Tony starts the dredge claiming he's going to begin mining despite the pond not even being filled with water. But then, surprise, Minnie arrives and shuts him down because of a lack of safety equipment. But their attempt at repairs results in swearing and chaos, so Tony hires Gene to run his crew. But Gene has a non-compete clause in his contract with Parker that says he cannot work for Tony. Wait a minute. If Parker isn't even in business, which he isn't as he has no contract and no land, how does the non-compete clause even apply? And why would Gene even sign such a deal with Parker? And why does it still apply this season after he signed it? It doesn't matter, as now Parker demands 12 virgin claims in exchange for Gene's contract, and Tony relents. And then there's no swearing, and everyone is happy. Well, that's an unusual ending for the week. Dave and Andy are at the claim 2 weeks early, clearing frozen ground. But because there is work to be done, Todd is nowhere to be seen. He's off with the claim owner at a different claim called El Dorado Creek, which supposedly has fault lines with millions of ounces of gold. But to be allowed to mine there, Todd must find double what he did last year, 2,700 ounces. So right away we establish this year's random goal. Todd returns to McKinnon Creek to tell Dave, the boss of the mine, about the goal and the plan to open a supercut the size of 12 football fields, causing Dave to claim that unless everything goes perfectly, their season will be over. And it doesn't go perfectly. The ground is thawing too fast, and water is everywhere. After an emergency, drama-rich meeting, they realize a water pump might be the solution to the water needing to be pumped. So everyone starts running around and shouting as they set up the pump. And then Logan sinks the excavator into the ice, and then there's even more running around and shouting. First they try and dig him out, which fails. Then they drain the water, and he drives out. We are told he was near death, but unless you can die from slightly chilly toes while everyone stands around and watches, I'm not quite sure how close to death he really was. They solve their water problem and clear the first of the overburden. A test pan shows some gold, and Dave wants to do a 1-week test run. And despite the fact that Dave is in charge, Todd overrules him and instead orders a 1-day test. Todd's son Hunter is in charge of the cleanout, and it's obvious because while everyone else is working, he is standing around and watching. What do they find? 29 ounces of gold. They all celebrate because after their running costs, finding that much gold probably only lost them $8,000 for the day. I guess they're picking up right where they left off. So in conclusion, remember last year when we were told Parker would buy his own claim? Tony would actually use his dredge, and Dave was made boss of the claim? Well, just kidding about all that. Tune in next week when we're sure to see Parker storm away, Tony swear all day, and Todd sleep and pray. And don't forget to watch the previous episodes of Gold Rush and a Rush, including my wildly speculative review of Todd's last year's total.